of the role that a different technology can play, and back to my point again about that ecosystem. So please put your hands together for Donna, please.
Hello, thank you for inviting me today. So I'm particularly happy to be at a GSMA conference since we are in the unlicensed spectrum. And I'm just curious from the audience, how many people have heard of LoRaWAN or LoRa Alliance? Can you raise your hand if I can see? Oh, okay, so that's why this is a cellular, not many know. All right, great. So I have a lot to talk about. So the point today is really looking at where does LoRa Alliance, LoRaWAN, and the unlicensed spectrum play in the world of connected cities and smart cities. And I'll tell you, this speaks specifically to the area where densification within cities as well as rural areas, and I'll give a lot of examples. So we've got a lot to cover. So the two things I want you to leave with today is one, that LoRaWAN is deploying in scale in cities all over the world. Today, we've been doing it for the last few years, and the point of conception models have converted, and I'll show you examples today of the scale. So I'm not here talking about what's going to happen in the future. I'm here to tell you it is happening. The other thing is around 5G, and how do we see ourselves playing with 5G? I am personally so excited 5G is coming. It will help us. 5G is high bandwidth, low latency, great for emergency services, connected cars, very much as the presentation before me spoke to, very much about entertainment and video. Those are none of the use cases or applications where LoRaWAN plays. And we know that in the global IoT, probably about 75% of IoT use cases, beyond even smart cities, are really in the low bandwidth, low data rate space, and 25% sits in the high bandwidth, low latency space. So we're excited to work with 5G because there are use cases there that we clearly don't do. So let me explain to you what we do and what we are doing. So the big differentiators for LoRaWAN, and let me talk about the first one, is flexibility. So we have flexibility of deployment, both in terms of public networks and private networks. And the private networks we're seeing right now about a 50% scale in private networks, private buildings, especially where security is important. There's also flexibility in terms of the business model. We can either do a CapEx model where they buy the equipment, put up the network. It's very easy to deploy, very fast, can scale very fast, but also a service model where they want to go out with one of our innovators or one of our member companies and use a service model very similar to a licensed network. In addition to that, we have future proofing. And the media has claimed that our firmware update over the air has changed the game in terms of deployments of billions of sensors in the market. And our firmware update over the air allows us, and we know there's going to be billions of sensors out there. How do you update these sensors? And for us, our sensors are wireless sensors. Many of them are buried underground, deep in areas that aren't accessible. So how do you update those sensors? They're 10+ year battery lives that our sensors deploy. So with firmware update over the air, you can update all your sensors at one pass, very low energy, click it back to saving, and continue to have them deployed and update and maintain for a 10+ year period. Very critical when you're looking at wireless sensors. In addition to that, we have geolocation. So our geolocation does not drain the battery life of our sensors. The geolocation happens within the networks, and it's a triangulation to tell approximately 40 meters where the location of your device trackings are. So that's very important, again, about battery life, because we are all about long battery life, long distance, and deep penetration in terms of our sensors and our use cases. The second is security. We have the experts from all over the world that are part of our alliance, and they have contributed to end-to-end encrypted security. So we are confident that the security in terms of the data packets from the device up to the cloud and back out are secure and encrypted. The other big difference with LoRa Alliance, like I talked about, is our energy efficiency. Remember, we are wireless batteries in the market in various types of applications. And our battery life is about 10 plus years. So again, the goal is you're gonna bury them or put them somewhere, forget about them, monitor it, and not use the manpower to update or collect data or have to do anything else with the sensor itself, which is a key to, again, about 75% of the types of use cases in the market. Our next one is coverage, and this is key too with 5G, in that our coverage is in dense urban areas where there are going to be billions of types of sensors. When LoRa Alliance and LoRaWAN are standard, can densify immediately by putting up another industrial standard gateway. Put the gateway right up, don't need any big infrastructure, connect about 10 plus billion devices to the gateway. So for densification in rural cities, LoRaWAN is the way to go. It's how you get through all those connected devices, as well as rural areas. So in rural areas where there are no cellular deployments or cellular coverage is spotty, we do a lot, as an aside, in agriculture, where there is just no cellular capabilities. And so we pop up a network, connect it, backhaul it either Wi-Fi, or if it's closer in, we can get to cellular through the backhaul to the gateway. And we're covering all the areas as well that cellular cannot cover. And last but not least is, again, I talked about our deep penetration. So when you've got sensors and you're putting them between layers of concrete in the ground, think water meters, think utilities, think refrigeration, think hospitals where you've got thick walls to go through. LoRaWAN is incredibly, works right through, connects through everything. So where deep penetration is an issue or underground, LoRaWAN is the connectivity center of choice and network of choice. The other thing that's interesting that just launched, oh wow, my time is going fast. I got so much to say, okay. I was just gonna say, we just had a satellite launch with the LoRaWAN gateway where it's gonna take over areas where there's literally no ability, either over water or rural Australia. Okay, I have got to zoom. You gotta come by the booth because I have so much more to say. So let me just quickly go through. We have an ecosystem of over 500 member companies. These are just some of our leading companies within the LoRa Alliance. And why is that important? Our ecosystem contributes to the development of our specification. And we have everything from device guides to gateways, to security, to data, to application, to cloud, to visualization. And so every one of those members contribute the best thinking. They have customers in all of these areas that contribute to the standard to address real customer issues. So we're looking at IoT and particularly smart cities from a very, very, very holistic approach. And if you can see, we have many network operators that are deploying both cellular and LoRaWAN in the unlicensed spectrum. And why? Because they know it's application dependent. We need both. One network application is not going to cover all the millions of use cases in the market. I'm going to have to quickly go through. So we just released, we are in over 100 companies. We do have over 100 network operators, as well as private network operators or private operators. I'm going to have to click through here. I just want to say, as you all know, with GSMA, we are LoRaWAN is a standard, and we have a very robust, strong certification program. Because if you're going to bury a device for 10 plus years, you want to know it's been tested. So my recommendation is look for the LoRaWAN certified mark, so that you know that it's been tested against the specification, tested to get on the networks, and tested for battery life, and tested for RF frequency. So the main things I want to say for smart cities is that we are doing all of these use cases today. And if you're looking at LoRaWAN specifically, again, different from 5G, it is long battery life that we have because of wireless sensors. Let me tell you, a lot of our customers do not want to dig up holes in the ground or the pavement to bury sensors. They just put them right on the top. It is long-range transmission, deep penetration, as well as the network densification that I talked about, particularly in the urban areas. Oh my gosh, my time is going. So let me see here. We are going through the deployments. This should be a build. Okay, so I got 25 seconds. This is to show you, these are just some examples, just a few of our use cases that we are really deploying in real cities around the world, and they are at scale. So when, again, people talk about, or groups talk about, we will be, let me tell you, we are, and we have great information, and we're continuing to deploy. And again, these are just a few in countries all over the world of deployments I can fit onto the slide. Yep, and that is Fleet Technology. That's a satellite that's deploying LoRaWAN as well. And last but not least, I wanted to talk about here in Spain, we have Reduxa that just launched a LoRaWAN network in Spain. Since we're here, I wanted to be sure and call that out. So I have 24 seconds. I was going to go through these use cases, but what I will do is talk about a couple big ones. So Viola and Birds selected Orange Network in France to deploy 3 million LoRaWAN sensors for water meters. I mean, these are real contracts with deployments. We have Theme Park in Shanghai that's deploying 150 sensors, and they're monitoring everything from carbon to clean water, to clean quality of air, to manhole covers, which is a big one because they go down and still copper, to parking spaces. We have Simtech and Xtelia that are also doing bus transportation. So they have signs out that talk in real time when buses are coming, so you know. We have P&I that are doing sensors with Machine Q, which is Comcast's IoT in parking. And you know, these are not just cost deployments. These are also generating revenue because they get parking tickets. So many of these are revenue generators aside from supporting urban city and living. They also generate revenue. Oh gosh, I'm good. All right, so here's what I want to leave you with, and I want you to make sure that you know. LoRaWAN is deploying. LoRaWAN is in cities all over the world. Every day, if you go to Google Alerts and you type in LoRaWAN or LoRa Alliance, you will see 2 to 5 announcements a day around the world of deployments that are happening. Real deployments, deployments at scale. So we have transitioned from talking about technology, although we did a little bit today, to talking about solutions. We are being pulled in the market. We're not just pushing anymore. So that's great news for 5G too. We are talking about solutions, specific solutions per vertical. We are looking at deployments, and we are talking about ROI at this point. So we are way past talking about technology. And LoRaWAN's also in so many other verticals, agriculture, hospitals. We just did a big deployment in a big chain of hospitals. We are doing smart building. We're doing agriculture, I think I said. So we're pretty much anywhere in the world where you need sensors, we're doing everything. And we have so many members that you can pick from in terms of cost differentiation. We've got the entire ecosystem that works together, they collaborate, they partner to implement and the solutions that are needed per specific vertical, per specific use case. And with that, I'd like to invite you to the LoRaWAN booth. I will be there later this afternoon. Come and see some of our actual deployments that are happening and learn a little bit more about LoRaWAN and the revolution. We have been declared the de facto standard for low power wide area networks. Our ecosystem every day is continuing to grow. It is that very ecosystem that allows us to grow and implement this very complicated IoT. Without our ecosystem, we would not be able to have the massive scale that we have today. Our ecosystem makes it easy to deploy. They listen to their customers. I think I'm over. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you at the booth.